I the a-hole for refusing to resign a lease weeks before leaving my pregnant sister homeless? I, 23 female, have an Irish twin, 24 female. We've been living together for 2 years. She's a single mom of a toddler. When we first moved in together, the apartment was only in her name, and she let me live with her. I was finishing dental assisting school and couldn't qualify for an apartment on my own. I still paid half the rent and utilities. And after graduating and getting a job, I became an official added roommate to the lease last year. I make a lot of money for my age, so when my sister was struggling to pay her half of the rent when her job cut her hours significantly, it was no-brainer to start paying more. I could easily afford all the rent, so covering another 25% is nothing. Plus, I love her and my niece. My sister has no help whatsoever from the father, so I help her as much as I can. He works under the table, so he doesn't get his wages garnished for child support. I have watched her struggle to afford daycare and food for her baby, so I also help her with that. 2 days ago, my sister sits me down and tells me she has news. She's pregnant. My jaw dropped. I ask who the dad is, and she starts crying. I didn't expect her to say her deadbeat baby daddy. I was shocked, and she continued on her explanation. She saw a girl commenting under his posts, and she went on her page and saw they had taken pictures at the same place at the same time. The girl also posted him for his birthday weeks later saying, "Happy birthday to my fiancé." She messaged her letting her know he's a deadbeat and got blocked. Then her baby daddy called her, saying she's a crazy witch, and that led them to getting a hotel room and they slept with each other. All to prove some point to his fiancé that he's not loyal and she can have him whatever she wants, because she sent her proof after they slept together. But the fiancé stayed with him. As she's telling me this story, I just sit there upset. I started asking her if she went to the doctor and how far along is she. She said she did stop by Planned Parenthood and got a scan, and she's 9 weeks. We live in a blue state, so abortion is legal here, and I told my sister that I wasn't going to be resigning the lease unless she got an abortion. She looked at me with so much disgust and started crying harder. She called me evil and said I'm a horrible person for making her choose between her baby or having housing. I told her with her hours now, she can't afford even half the rent, let alone the daycare she splits between me, our dad and aunt. So to understand the position she's putting me in since the responsibility's falling on me. She told our family, and they're mad saying I'm being heartless to even ask her that, and that I shouldn't punish her, and that I should sign at least 6 months so she can get her act together, since 5 weeks isn't a lot of time. I said no, she's ungrateful for all the help I've done, so I'm out. Now they're saying I'm an a-hole, since when I didn't qualify, she let me live with her even though I paid half. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I shouldn't punish her and I should sign at least 6 months. Not the a-hole. I hate when family tries to spend other family members' money. Tell your family that they can co-sign for your sister and pitch in on the rent since they are so adamant about it. You aren't forcing your sister to get a procedure. You just aren't going to live with her if she has another kid. The kids are not your responsibility, and you should not have to take care of them. Deadbeat dad's future wife should know that if he cannot afford child support, they will get it out of her wages. When they get married, the courts take into consideration the household income, so she will be on the hook for both kids, if in the US. If it's paid under the table, court will require him to get a job. Not the a-hole. You had the right intentions, although you expressed them in a way that wasn't apt. I mean, you played the biggest card you were holding in your hand. When we do something for our loved ones, we shouldn't hold that as a way to control them or their decisions. I can understand where you are coming from. She definitely shouldn't have this baby, rationally speaking. But it is not for us or for you to decide. I can understand that the responsibility will fall over you eventually. So you could have told her that she should reconsider and that you wouldn't be able to support that second baby. But using the lease card was like using a bazooka for killing a spider. So you might have been wrong there. You should play it positively going forward, like encourage and even somewhat push your sister to get a job, make a life for herself. She can't be dependent on you and others for all her life. She needs to sort out her life by herself. You guys are there for her to count on and to support her, but she shouldn't take it for granted. I brought up the lease since it's approaching and we spoke over the summer about wanting to renew again. So I wanted to let her know I had a change of heart. She does have a job. Her hours are now part-time though, and she can't find a second one. I want her to have an amazing life, but I feel like it's a slap in the face for her to have another baby by a guy who doesn't help with the first one, and that I'm expected to support the new one. With 1 baby it was tolerable, but 2 is making me realize that I want more out of life than to stick around and keep helping her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for banning my sister and her boyfriend from my wedding? So my husband and I are getting married in December. My sister's boyfriend started asking if he could propose to my sister at my wedding. I obviously said no, because that's our day only. He can propose the day after my wedding, but not on my wedding. But he asked me again and again, and I said no every time. The 50th time when he asked me, I said not only can't he propose at my wedding, but he can't even come to my wedding. Then my sister started to fight over this. She knew her boyfriend wanted to propose to her at my wedding. I told her that it's gonna be my day and my husband's only. She started to call me names because I banned her boyfriend from my wedding. She said that if I'm not gonna let him propose to her, then she's gonna ruin my wedding dress. She even said that she's gonna sneak her boyfriend because she wanted to have all the family members be present on her proposal. I said that's fine. She's also banned from my wedding now. A few days later, some family members called me to say I'm a heartless person because I broke my sister's heart. They said she cried because she wanted to be on my wedding. She wanted to see her little sister getting married. She also said that I should have just accepted her wish and let her boyfriend propose at my wedding. So you guys tell me, am I the a-hole? You are not the a-hole. Your sister and future brother-in-law, however, are two matching pieces of work. She's going to wreck your wedding dress if you don't let her boyfriend come propose at your wedding? Wow. I would suggest that you hire security to make sure your sister and her boyfriend cannot attend. Her instability could truly wreck your wedding, particularly if she tries to make good on her threats to sneak in boyfriend and wreck your dress. As for her heart being broken, ignore. It's just drama from a woman who just really wants to upstage you at your wedding. Do not include her. Do not include her boyfriend. Share with your family in writing. Please stop contacting me about my sister and future brother-in-law not being invited to my wedding. Brother-in-law asked me many times if he could propose to sister there, and I told him no, as the wedding is to celebrate the bride and groom and should not be hijacked by another event. After many requests, he still refused to take no for an answer, so I asked him not to come. Sister then said that she would come, wreck my wedding dress, sneak her boyfriend in, and have her proposal. She also called me all sorts of names. For these reasons, sister and future brother-in-law will not be coming to my wedding. I'm not open to further discussion on this topic. Best, Opie. Yep, let family know what their plans were. Also, Opie should let people who continue to harass her know that they can miss the wedding too. Get security and make sure she has no access to her dress. Passwords with vendors too. Not the a-hole, and this BS right here is yet another reason people elope. The nerve of your possible future brother-in-law wanting to steal your spotlight at your wedding. And family members backing him and your sister up even though she threatened to ruin your wedding dress. Of course, you disinvited them. And you can put their little flying monkeys up for consideration if an invite take back too. Your sister saying just wants to see her little sister get married so she can get a ring on it and avoid having to organize and pay for her own damn engagement party. Oh hell no, not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not sponsoring my friend's honeymoon? I've known my friend for almost 5 years, and we've always been good friends, but not particularly close. She recently got engaged to her boyfriend of 8 years, and started planning her dream wedding, which from what I've heard is extravagant and way out of budget. Her parents are paying for the gown and venue, while his parents are covering the food, decor, and other expenses. They have 3 kids together, and money has always been tight due to their growing family. A couple of months ago, we went out for drinks and all she could talk about was how she deserved her dream honeymoon but couldn't afford it. I felt bad for her. I've been working as a registered nurse for quite a while and my pay was good, and I had some money saved up as well. So I decided to offer to sponsor her honeymoon in Hawaii, which she eagerly accepted and was grateful for. However, things took a turn for the worse when we went shopping for bridesmaids' dresses. She insisted we wear a particular lilac dress, which was revealing and uncomfortable, especially for someone like me who doesn't have a 0 figure and is on the busty side. When I expressed my discomfort, she made a cruel joke about my appearance, comparing me to a baby elephant and suggesting I lose weight. I asked if I could wear a different dress in the same color, but she dismissed me and implied that my size was the problem. When I tried on the dress, it was a disaster. My stomach looked absolutely hideous, and my breasts were spilling out, making it uncomfortable. My so-called friends laughed and made jokes about my appearance. When I told the bride the dress wasn't working for me, her response was the last straw. She told me that because of my body size, nothing ever worked for me, just like my past relationship with Tyler, my ex. This was a particularly sensitive topic for me, and I couldn't hold back my emotions any longer. I left the place in tears and texted her that I was canceling her Hawaii trip and wouldn't attend her wedding. She became angry and told her sob story to other friends, but most of them sided with me. A few days later, she messaged me, apologizing and asking me to attend her wedding. I declined, but then unbelievably, she had the audacity to ask me to pay for her honeymoon, insisting I promised. She even made her fiancé sisters and friends text me and pressure me to pay for her honeymoon. I lost my patience and told her that her financial struggles and her 3 kids were her responsibility, not mine. Then called her an entitled and stuck-up person who didn't even deserve my friendship. Now I'm in dilemma, feeling guilty for my harsh words. I heard that she's been constantly crying and complaining about how I ruined her wedding. Some of our mutual friends are telling me that I can't take a joke and I am overreacting. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. She's dumb and an a-hole. Who picks on a person paying for their honeymoon? She was never a good friend. Not the a-hole. I always knew she was a bit inconsiderate, but I had no idea she could go to this extent. She makes fun of almost everyone, but the things she said to me didn't even feel like a joke. Way too personal and too hurtful. Not the a-hole. First, you shouldn't have offered to sponsor the honeymoon in the first place. You need to think carefully about why you did that because you shouldn't have. Contributing $250 towards it? Fine. But sponsoring the whole thing? Yeah, no. And to hell what anyone else thinks. You make jokes about my body and my former relationships, then I can choose to remove myself and my money from your presence. What they said was not a joke, and it is not your fault if this ruined her wedding. She should ask one of her other friends who can take a joke to sponsor her honeymoon. Please stand your ground. Have you already paid for everything? No, I did not pay for anything, and yes, it would have costed me over $10,000. From all the things that I calculated, it would have been around $11,600 or more. I only made such a big promise because she and I have been friends for a long time. And she was a little inconsiderate about others' feelings, but she was always good to me. Even though we were not best friends, she was one of the few good friends I had. And I know that sponsoring a trip to Hawaii might sound like a really stupid idea, but if I had enough money, I would not hesitate to sponsor a world tour. You may call me stupid, but I like doing stuff for people I love. But guess I befriended the wrong person. And I have always saved my money instead of spending it mindlessly. So, spending $10K for a friend didn't feel like a huge deal to me. Plus, I can gain that money back by only saving for 2 to 3 months, given my monthly earnings. She has been working really hard for her kids, and I saw it myself. I just wanted to give her a good vacation. The fact that you're single and make good money is the entire reason she invited you to lunch and talked about, oh, poor me, can't afford a honeymoon. That's all she really wanted from you. In other words, you did the right thing and she's not your friend. Last story. Am I the a-hole for giving my mom money in front of her relatives and telling her to decide who gets it? I'm visiting my mom's home country, and everywhere we go, someone needs something, and my mom expects me to pony up some cash. It is getting annoying. I came here to meet extended family and help my mom get around. After 3 days of this, I went to the bank and withdrew a large sum of cash. That evening, we were at a party with a bunch of her family, and it started. I said in my very poor Spanish that I would love to help all of them, but my mom knew them better and what they needed. So I gave her the wad of cash, said that was all the money I had to spare on this trip, and she could decide who deserved it most. I got drunk with my cousins and my mom was overwhelmed by her needy relatives. The next day, she made my hangover that much worse by yelling at me for the way I handled it. Apparently, she didn't have a spare minute without someone coming to her to explain why they needed money more than anyone else. She said she even started getting calls from people who hadn't come to the party, but heard she had money to help them. I said she had made my vacation into a charity trip, and then I went looking for more beer. She says that I behaved poorly and that I embarrassed her. Not the a-hole. Your relatives sound like leeches. No offense. I don't know why she was embarrassed. Her child was able to give her a large sum of money to help the family. That sounds like something to be proud of, or at least grateful for. She is your mom though. I'd try and talk to her eye to eye about how much you should be financially supporting everyone in the family. They aren't really. They're just on a very different socioeconomic stratum. I literally get paid more every day than a person on that country averages in 6 weeks. I understand why they see me how they do, but I would prefer it if they let me enjoy myself when I'm there too. If they don't have a relationship with you, host you when you come visit, or you only hear from them when they need money, you should be responsible for them financially. It sounds like you would simply stop hearing from a bunch of them if you stopped giving them money. It might be better to send your mom something like an allowance monthly to help the family, with the understanding that when you come to visit, you aren't asked for any. Not the a-hole. She expected you to hand over as much money as she felt the individual deserved, right? With her controlling your money? So you just gave her full control of the money and removed a middleman and let your relatives know who to ask if they needed money. It was a brilliant move to end her power play. I'm guessing mom didn't want the relatives to know she was determining who got how much because it would just complicate her life. Relatives hounding her for money with her sob stories, getting angry for not getting any or not enough, etc. Info: did you have a conversation with your mother about how this made you feel before reaching this point? Before we left home, it isn't the first time. 100% not the a-hole. Your mother messed around and found out. Good on you.